Can your favorite characters from other games actually survive Elden Ring Nightreign? That's the test we're running today. 4 beloved icons, we're throwing them into Nightreign's merciless 3-day storm and seeing if any of them can walk away alive. Every one of us at one point or another has thought things like, can Superman beat the Hulk? Is my dad stronger than yours? And what the fuck is the point of Aquaman? And just like that, I was looking at the games that were coming out this month and was playing some Nightreign and was like, well shit, could any of these characters actually survive the brutality of a game like Nightreign? And Joker is here because I didn't give a shit about any of the other games coming out this month, honestly. I mean, let's face it guys, most of the people in the thumbnail live in pretty brutal conditions. These characters are not the soft protagonists of games like Hello Kitty Island Adventure or something. You have multiple post-apocalyptic characters, some that deal with gangs, and most deal with godlike beings at one point or another. These skills are going to be very important to our would-be survivors because in a world like Limveld, where everything in itself might be a dream, that's something I'll circle back around to with you later. These characters will need everything in their arsenal just to try to survive. For now, we need to know one thing. What kind of nightmare are these characters about to enter? What can I tell you about Nightreign? Well, it's a miasma of shifting landscapes filled with enemies, forts, castles, and nightmares. This amalgamation of all FromSoftware has ever put together is jammed into a vicious 3-day cycle that tests everything from your ability to know where to go and what to attack or what to avoid, to just what enemy is weak or not. I know not all of you that may stumble on this video will have played all of the FromSoft games. However, they have pulled in demons and gods from former titles to bolster the roster here. Everything from the centipede demon to that super hot smelter demon. Oh, and these little guys are still just the cute creatures here compared to the true threats that lie in the shadows of Night 3. And there are 8 of these nightmares that our heroes will have to contend with. And honestly, I don't think that most of them will have a chance, but let's find out. And first up is the Knight from Hollow Knight. This guy looks like a bug with a nail, but we won't hold that against him for the sake of this video. I'll even make him the same size of the player character of the story so that the soldier's boot can't take him out. So what's going to happen when the Knight comes to Limveld? Well, a few things. At first, like everyone else who enters the dream, he will quickly find his way to Round Table Hold, and Duchess will tell him what's going on like she does to all newcomers. So out of the gate, not much changes, except the Knight is a lone wolf character, so he won't be teaming up. Where the real changes start to happen is when Bug Boy here lands in the battle map as he lands in his first camp and beats down the local homeless population. And yes, I think that he would easily do this. Instead of dust dissipating like it normally does in a run of the game, it enters our bug friend here and powers up his soul gauge, allowing him to use his stronger abilities and even heal from damage. Now, I'm not being a dick here. While he can't use things like relics because there is no hollow urn in the game, he does have his normal loadout, changeable charms and skills, so he's not going in naked. However, this does give him a bit of a unique challenge that the others won't have. He won't be running around to get any weapons from the bosses in the world, and really would only be able to possibly get some buffs. And let's face it, most of the map won't be a problem. Just like the protagonist of the base game, this little guy don't take fall damage, so exploring will be a cakewalk for him. Also, with his ability to double jump and even fly, the map is his oyster. So that's it, huh? He easily takes out the game? Oh, you sweet innocent child, no. Every time the night falls, this void-born creature will have to contend with a fearsome night boss. Each one a different challenge. To make things interesting though, let's talk about a couple of them now. The Knight is very familiar with taking on giant bug creatures with only one weakness, but could he take the Duke's dear Freya with her army of small spiders at her side? At first, the overwhelming odds would seem to put the Queen in an advantageous position. However, to this bug, the baby spiders become a battery, and Freya is just one more single weakness foe to fell.
Well, what about day 2 bosses?
You might say. And here's where things start to get interesting. We could have two that could give him a bit of a challenge. Everyone's favorite acrobatic fuckstick is back in the Fell Omen, who attacks relentlessly and moves as if he's breakdancing all over you. But the nail parry exists, and with his dash skills, I believe that this bug might just take out the Fell King. Then we have another king, one that is quite literally nameless, and this guy uses his mighty dragon to ride the storms and strike you from above as you scurry like an ant. For all its might though, the dragon always lands after a few swipes, so as the fire fades and the knight is just sitting there shielded due to one of his charms while healing, the charge begins, and soon it's just the knight and the King of Storms, the god of war himself. The clash of electric charged spear against dream enhanced nail. But the king has never had to fight someone so disrespectful that will literally bounce off of his head like a goddamn pogo stick. And with no way to heal himself, the knight dethrones the king after a hard fight. So, all that's left after that is the Lords of Night. And if you think this bug gets through this, let's just see. Let's keep this bug-themed party going. Could the knight take out Noister? Now, I know that our bug mascot has taken out flying bosses before. I know that he has taken out brutes before. And he has even taken out multiple bosses at the same time. However, when he first enters this arena, he is going to see the Moth. And to him, it will be like the Radiance all over again. Except, every spell shot by this Moth is like a homing missile. And this man is not alone. For out of the ground comes a giant armored scorpion. But when he hardens, that piercing and slashing damage that our little knight brings into the fight are basically null and void in the damage department. In Hollow Knight, the hardest something hits can collapse a floor. When the scorpion stomps, it literally sends shockwaves that erupt under you into massive spikes. With tracking missiles from the sky, poison mist, and overwhelming charges from the scorpion coming at him from the ground, the knight would quickly be overwhelmed. Even with his phasing dodges, he has the poison mist that don't give a shit. It covers such a large area, it's all but guaranteed that he will just phase into more mist. And even if he can get the boss low enough, he becomes a goddamn Megazord bug and can drop orbital lasers on itself, which it takes no damage from, even if it's bathing in it itself. So honestly, I think that several of the Nightlords can take him down, even with his Void Self, which is a type of immortality, but I'd argue is a weaker version of immortality than the Nightfarers have. So yeah, first guy gets all the way to the Nightlords, so that's nice. Does this mean that the knight can't beat the other Nightlords? Nah, I'd almost say he has a decent chance against the likes of Libra and Fulgur. However, that's not where his best possible win condition comes in. Remember when I said I believe that all of Nightreign is a dream? Well, this bug would know this is a dream due to his dream nail. Yes, his weapon has the ability to enter and exit dreams through dream gates. Hypothetically, and this is a long shot, if he were to exit Hollister's dream through a dream gate, he could end the whole thing without having to fight a single Nightlord. He could simply stab the dreamer in the real world, like Iron Eye does in his Remembrance mission. Do I think this would work? Not really, but it is a win state that he has, making it so he's not completely boned by the challenge. And one of the more interesting win states in this video. If you're liking this video so far, give it a like, and you should definitely subscribe already. What are you waiting for? It's the only way YouTube will let you know when I drop new videos. If I forgot anything in the previous section, or if you think I got it wrong, let me know in the comment section down below. Now, let's move on to our next fiery survivor in Lilith. And now before I get into Lilith, I want to point out that systems like her respawn are not coming with her. So unlike in her games, she won't have her pseudo immortality worked into this challenge. So let's start this one out like the last. And already we have a big difference, as the Firehawk here is almost like her nickname hints at her powers, would come in and be willing to work with Duchess to try to get back to her friends on Pandora. But Lilith is used to doing things way differently than almost everyone else on this list. In fact, every time she kills something in her world, it explodes into a colorful rainbow of weapons and ammo. And while weapons do drop, and her guns will give her a massive edge in the world of Nightreign, I mean, as V for Vendetta once said,
"Now, what you have are bullets, and the hope that when your guns are empty, I'm no longer standing, because if I am, you'll all be dead before you've reloaded."
That's impossible!
And let's face it, Vault Hunters are never conservative with their ammo. So unlike our knight from before, she would have to use weapons that drop around her. I know it's a gameplay mechanic, but hey, it makes me laugh thinking that she would at least know what the different colored weapons mean in rarity, and how good they are at least. Honestly though, similarly to the knight, I don't see much of the base world of Nightreign messing her up. Only the most aggressive world bosses have a chance, and considering that Lilith managed to take out the Destroyer in the first Borderlands, she could be argued to have a good chance here also. All the end day 1 bosses are too slow, and even if they could keep up with Lilith, her phase shift ability allows her to teleport in and out of existence, making it so she takes no damage for 10 damn seconds. However, it does have a drawback of having a long cooldown time. If she don't have access to Iridium, which is a special element from her world that can speed up the cooldown time. With fire and lightning being the elements that she draws from, several of the Nightlords would have trouble with her. Even without ammo and spare Iridium, just her base skills is enough to make people explode into mist while entering and exiting her phase shift. With how smart Lilith is, she did lead the Crimson Raiders successfully for years after all, I see her knowing when to use her abilities to stay alive, and like that, Nightlords like Fulgur, Noyster, Marius, and even possibly Caligo can drop to her siren abilities. However, the fact that more than one of the bosses are strong against her types of damage gives her a real disadvantage against foes like Gladius. And even if I'm being nice and give her the infinite ammo pistol, that weapon is notoriously weak. It would be like bringing the pulley crossbow against him. While it can work, it would take such a long time to finish such a beast, and leaving her a bit drained. So to keep this interesting, let's just say she makes it past all 7 of the normal Nightlords. Now she has to deal with Holester. Can she get past his overwhelming might? I mean, she has recharging shields that take a huge beating and can recharge. Depending on the situation, some of them blow up when they fail, but somehow don't hurt the person using them. Others have trouble recharging at all. The aspect of the knight drops nukes and can hit with ailments that Lilith has not had to mess with. I mean, in Borderlands you have corrosion, fire, lightning, you know, basic weapon types for a game like this. But think about this for a minute. No one in Borderlands has resistance to sleep, madness, or even scarlet rot. How do you think someone like Lilith would deal with this? She is quite literally a hot-headed character who jumps into battle, phase shifting in and out and causing all sorts of elemental damage. This is how I see it playing out. Lilith does her Firehawk thing, bursts through the door one final time to stand face to face with a man who is just standing there, all menacingly. Having talked to the likes of Duchess, she would know that this is the final fight before she can go home to Pandora, to be with the Crimson Raiders and her friends. However, her ammo has been spent well before now just making it to this place. Knowing it could come to this, she has held on to a small piece of Iridium for just such an occasion, as she charges in suddenly and much faster than she would anticipate. The Nightlord also lunges forward and they clash. This leaves the Firehawk shields blaring due to them going down from one big hit. But Hollister is also down, on one knee. But it seems he is just preparing for the next phase as he unsheaths another sword from his back. Now Lilith is on the back foot, as a few massive strikes come in, one after another. Thinking fast, the leader of the Crimson Raiders phase shifts out just as the final blow would have hit her, taking her out. Desperation hits. Even with her shield, she knows that she won't be able to take much more from this monster, with shadow leaking off of him. In she blasts with everything that she has one last time, and the arena goes black as the Nightlord falls. When her vision comes back, standing there in front of her, in his darkest form with blue lines of power seeping through the darkness that is now his body. What now, she thinks, as he slowly rises into the air. Hollister literally splits the sky open to access different dimensions to power himself up, while Lilith decides now or never and pulls out her last piece of iridium, absorbing the power from within. And as the two crash, Hollister becomes her siren song, and Lilith's story ends here. A giant phoenix left staining the floor of Hollister's arena for every new Nightfarer who attempts to break the cycle. From the Firehawk herself to the literal reason I decided to do this video in the first place. With Final Fantasy Tactics coming out, I wanted a reason to talk about what is probably one of my all-time favorite games. Hell, if this video does well, I'll bring my favorite hero, Yuri. No, not her, you degenerates. Every fucking time I say that name, you guys come at me with this shit. Also, let's get this out of the way. I know Final Fantasy has things like Phoenix Down, Rise, Re-Rise, and whatnot. But come the fuck on, we all know it don't matter how many of those damn things you have in your inventory, the cutscenes never let us use those things. So from a lore perspective, I'm saying they don't exist. Want proof? Aerith Gainsbourg, Luna Freya, Nox Floret, Tella, Yosef and Miwa, Galuf, Leo, Vivi, Orin, Titus, and Zack Fair. It didn't look like the Phoenix Down helped any of these characters, so I'm saying that it's not a thing. Get over it. Now, how does this noseless wonder handle Nightreign? Well, Ramza, being a JRPG protagonist, this should be hard to tell what he would have skill-wise. However, unlike most of them, he has a canonical role in his game. So what insane powers does this canon class give him? Can he bend the fabric of reality? Does he have unlimited cosmic power? Wait, what do you mean he is just a squire? The first class that you have in the game. Well shit, why is he this high on the list then? You sit there and hold your horses and I'll make my argument for you, and hopefully you'll agree with me when I'm done explaining it. So, like the two characters before, we start by entering the Round Table Hold, and for the first time we have ourselves a tactical hero one that has been trained by a noble family in order to lead men into battle. No, we are not going to try to compare grid-based combat to free form, but Ramza, being a master swordsman, gives him several comparisons to Duchess and her own brother in Wilder. Now normally I'd say he would bring the other Nightfarers together to fight off the night together. But we're replacing the Nightfarers with our characters, so in he goes. First he would learn how the world works. Now before I get too far into this section, for the few of you that have seen the previous Survivor videos that I have done, yes, I know I said Cloud would stomp Elden Ring. And for those of you who know, yes, Cloud does make an appearance as a secret character in this game. So that means Ramza scales to Cloud, right? And no, dumbasses, that's 1, not how this works at all. 2, Cloud is notoriously weak in tactics. In fact, most people skip him in this game. And 3, scalers suck the fun out of these videos, so argue with me in the comments section. Now, being a tactical genius that he is, Ramza would know that nothing in this world will have to be beaten other than the end of day bosses and the Nightlords themselves. So in my opinion, at least Ramza would just figure out where the night boss would spawn and ready the battlefield for when a boss would actually make an appearance. If you look carefully on the compass, you can guess where the final boss will spawn, so it shouldn't take someone like Ramza that long to figure it out. It's like this man has figured out easy mode in Nightreign. No waste in resources, no fighting bosses to move on. Would any of the day bosses give him any trouble? Honestly, I don't think so, because even though Ramza is just a squire, the best way to play him as a squire is to give him the mathematics skill, allowing for use of all magic for free. So you think that the day 2 bosses like Morgott or the Nameless King will give him an issue, right? Morgott's too fast, he would overwhelm him. Hard to imagine that when Ramza's sword has auto haste built into it, doubling his speed. He also has other ways to boost his speed with things like his Tailwind skill. Nameless King would take him down then, right? I mean, he could fly. That's a nice thought. But let's put out a hypothetical then. Does time magic exist in Nightreign? Because Ramza has a hold person style magic and can even disable abilities of his opponents, so honestly, that's a wash. When it comes to the Nightlords, they are too strong for a tactical swordsman to take out, right? And pure strength, I'd have to agree with you guys that each of these bosses can definitely out deadlift Ramza. But this video isn't about whose ass looks best in their pants. It's about who would win. And Ramza has access to every single one of their weaknesses at an incredibly high level. Adele, poison is just one cast away. No buildup, you just fucking have it. Caligo and Oyster, you have Viagra. And Flare. Fulgur, boom, mother trucker, you have Thundaga. Not a single boss has a weakness he can't exploit. Hollister might have a chance, right? Well, let's look at the scene we gave Lilith at the end of her fight. The Nightlord floats up into the air to absorb extra dimensional power. Ramza casts Time Magic Stop. Everything now he is doing just stops. He's no longer able to move. Ramza doesn't have to focus on the damn spell. But the man's in the air. What can he do, right? Easy. Just nuke him with the spell Holy over and over. And with that being Hollister's weakness, this battle ends quicker than we can imagine. So if you guys are familiar with Ruger Rabbit's channel, you know how these things work. And if the guy before survived the challenge, then why would I put yet another guy on the list? Well, if it was just from the power perspective, I think that Joker makes a joke of this whole game. Resistances don't matter at all when Joker has true damage, which ignores all resistance and immunities, and just does damage. On top of that, he's the only character on this list that has been in a massive kaiju battle, where it ended with him literally shooting a god in the head to save the world. No. The reason I put Joker here is for how fun it would be to see him try to find and infiltrate the palace of Hollister, instead of beating him in the traditional way. Joker would go in and change the Nightlord's heart. Imagine how that would be for 1 second. Joker slinking around inside what I'm guessing would be Round Table Hold, looking for Hollister's treasure. Whatever that could be, with the mini bosses being things that the Nightlord has already dreamt up. In case you guys don't know or haven't played the Persona games, Joker has the ability to actually get what it is in your dream palace as a summon that he can actually use in battle afterwards. And considering all of Nightreign, at least according to my theory, is a dreamscape. For Joker, this would more than likely work like the place called Mementos in his game, which is a training ground of sorts for him and his other thieves. Look, it's a massive game. I wish I had time to go over all of the mechanics here, but if I did, this video would be 10 hours long. Do let me know if you want to do breakdown videos like that though. Might be something worth looking into. Needless to say, that means he can summon every Nightlord he beats against the other Nightlords. It would be like watching a Bjorn the Bear video. Could Libra beat Caligo or some shit? But let's get back to what I was saying. Imagine if he could change Hollister's heart. That would change a few things. No longer would Limveld be a land of constant violence that pulls heedless nightfarers in. Now it would be a place of peace and beauty. Instead of draining Wilder, he would have a paradise where he could live in peace with his sister Duchess. In the end, we all need a bit of paradise, because if I still can't get my friend Noah that damn Everdark Libra victory the next time he's in rotation, I'm gonna go fucking mad. Anyway, that's it. That's all I have for you guys. Did you agree with me, or am I just some raving lunatic? Let me know in the comments section below. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like. And also guys, subscribe. We have a lot more coming and I don't want you to miss out. Also, if you want to come join our Discord, and if not for any other reason than to continue to call me dumb. And with that guys, remember, be good to each other. See you in the next video. Peace.